Hi everyone, my name's Laura and welcome back to my channel, So Very Laura. Today I'm going to take you through my thoughts as to what I might make for the Busy Bee Challenge month 3, so the November challenge, which is to make something with cozy autumn vibes. So an outfit that makes you think of being nice and warm in autumn, maybe to go for a walk or something like that. So I am aware that I haven't yet done a full reveal of month 2, the Riley overalls, and I'll tell you a bit more about that at the end. But for the moment, I'm going to start by looking at November's plans, because I've only got about, I think it's 2.5 weeks to do this in. So as you'll see as we go through, I've thought of some options, and most of them are in knit fabrics, which are obviously a bit quicker to sew up and also just cozy. So let's start. So the first one is a real scrap buster, because I have got a ton of bits of pieces of fabric, and actually probably more knit fabric than woven, that I really need to use up because, and this will make Sam Sequin Girly laugh, they are space hogs in my fabric stash. So here we go. So you can see I've got all these, which are all remnants from items that I have made. So what I'll do, I'll try and put up some pictures of the items that I've made with these, but you can see they're varying amounts, and they're almost all French terry kind of weight. So what I thought I could do is put some, maybe not all together, into a garment which is by Ellie and Mac, and it's called the So Scrappy, I think it's called the So Scrappy top. I'll put it down below, but you can either make it as a sweatshirt or you can make it as a hoodie, which is what I will probably do because I quite like a hoodie, as you'll know if you've watched me for a while. So I thought that this would make a really fun top, and if I make this, I'll put a picture of it. You can see that the pieces are kind of quite weirdly shaped, and I read a review of the pattern and it said don't try and do this on an overlocker because it'll just be a nightmare with all these bits where you have to pivot to sew things together. So if I do this one, I will sew it up on my sewing machine in Maraflex. So yeah, so that's my first option, is the So Scrappy hoodie by Ellie and Mac. And I would probably pair that, whether I get time to do it this month, it would happily go with jeans, particularly if I pick out some of the ones with more blue in. But if I got time, I could either make the Walk Boldly pants by Pattern Emporium, or I could make a free pattern which is by Tiana's Closet, and it's called the Jennie Leggings, and it describes them as activewear, but frankly I think they're far too posh for activewear. I'd describe them as a close-fitting trouser, and I'll put a picture up, but you can see they've got this slit up the front, so I think they're really quite elegant, and I think worn with, you know, nice boots or high-heeled shoes, they'd look great. And actually I've got another fabric that I haven't shown you yet, which I won't show you today, but it would make a great top for a party. So I think that that might be really useful if I made them up in black. I've got some purple ponte and I've also got some black ponte, so either of those might work as long as they've got enough stretch. And I bought both of those when I went on my sewing retreat back in February, so I'll link to that vlog below if you want to look at it, but they are fairly plain ponte. So that's option one, is a hoodie, hopefully paired with some sort of a knit trouser. Next up, I thought about dresses. So when I did my famous vlog about space hogs in my fabric stash, which I'll link to below. I mentioned this, and as you can see, I still haven't sewn it up, and it is this chocolate brown Ponte Roma, which I got from Girl Charlie, I think in its closing down sale in the UK, and I really like this. And I said at the time that I thought I might quite like to make a dress out of it. And I think one of my lovely viewers commented that it might be quite severe if I just made a dress in brown. But I don't normally do gold coloured jewellery. I tend to wear sort of silver coloured jewellery, but I don't mind it on occasion. And I've got a gold necklace that I've worn with a brown, I say gold coloured, I've worn with a brown dress in the past, and I've found another one which I think belonged to my grandma, which I've found in my mum's house. So I've got those, and I've also got a really nice scarf which I am meant to be wearing because I wanted to illustrate that this is the same really. This is a thrifted sweater, and it's a kind of dark green. And I think if it weren't for the poppy that I'm wearing, it would also look quite dull. But I'll put a picture in because I've left it in my bedroom. I took it off to put my makeup on. But it's a real riot of colour, the scarf. It's crocheted, so it's me made, and I was using up a remnant, funnily enough. And I think it brightens this up no end. So I think I could pair the dress in brown with a scarf as well as with jewellery, and it would probably be fine, hopefully. And the pattern that I'd like to make, I'll put a picture in, but you'll see I already own it, and it's the Tessa Sheath dress by Love Notions, and I want to make the boat neck version. And interestingly, I was watching Kate from the Fold Line this morning as she talked about various patterns, and she mentioned a new pattern that's come out. Can't remember which one, but I'll link her vlog below. And it is a boat neck dress, and she said they're kind of everywhere at the moment, these sort of boat neck knit dresses. So I thought actually it'd be bang on trend. So that again is another option. And if I don't do it in November, it's something I definitely want to do this kind of autumn winter time. So that's one option for a dress. My second option for a dress is the Sew Over It Estelle dress. Again, you can see I've already had this printed, and I'll put a picture up here. And I've had this pattern for a while. In fact, I already own all the patterns for the suggestions I'm making, and actually all the fabric, which is quite nice. The only pattern I don't own, but it's free, so it doesn't matter, is the Jennie leggings, so I could download those. Everything else, I already have the pattern and I already have the fabric, so that's quite nice because I really, really, really need to take back control of my sewing room and my stash. So option 2 is this. It is a fabric that I bought, I think in Finland when I was on a cruise a couple of years ago, and you buy it by weight in this particular shop. So you'll see it's this jersey style. And so I thought if I made the Estelle in that, it would look really nice. It is kind of festive, but I don't think it screams Christmas so much that I couldn't wear it going through into winter with boots, and also spring. So that again is another cozy alternative. I think that would look great with boots. And then my last two options are, and this is the only, I think, woven fabric I've got in this pile, is to make another pinafore dress, or as you call them in the States, a jumper. Now, you might remember earlier in the year, probably January actually, I did make the Love Notions pianoforte jumper, and I reviewed it, so I'll link to that down below. And I wasn't sure about it, but I've hemmed it, which I did a lot later on because I wasn't sure about it. And so the other day I thought, well, you know what, it's autumn, I will put on my pianoforte jumper. And I was going up to Yorkshire to see some friends that I was at school with, far too many years ago that I'm going to tell you. And I put it on with my shirt that I made for the Busy Bee Challenge last year, the Olya shirt. And I'll put a photo in of what I looked like in the pinafore dress when I first made it. And I put it on and I was going to set off and drive up to Yorkshire. My husband took one look at me and he said, that's far too big. It's far too big on you. And he's right, because I've lost not necessarily weight, but I've certainly lost inches off my, probably my bust and my hips. It just looks big. It doesn't look boxy, it looks big. So I need to have a think about how I can amend that, or whether I just donate it to someone who would like it, because the pockets are attached into the side seams, so I don't think it would be impossible to alter it, but it might be a bit fiddly. So yeah, so I need another pinafore skirt. So I've got two alternatives for this, and I thought I would make it in this, which is the same fabric as I made my pinafore, pianoforte pinafore in, which is a purple corduroy. My other one was black, and I've got two options for this. So one is the Tilly and the Buttons Clio pinafore dress, which I'm sure you've all seen before. I bought this in a D-stash probably about 4 months ago, but as you can see in the picture, and also if I show you the line drawings, if they don't come up very clearly, I will put a separate picture in. It's really very traditional in terms of it looking like dungarees, in that it's very definitely a separate bib and a skirt, and then straps crossed at the back. It's not as, how can I put it, all-encompassing maybe as the pianoforte jumper, which was definitely much more like a kind of complete dress that you slipped over. So that's one alternative, is the Tilly and the Buttons Clio. And my other alternative is also a Tilly and the Buttons pattern. No, not the Noah. I don't own the Noah, but I know she's brought that one out. But the olive pinafore, which is in her book, Make It Simple, and that is the olive. So you can see there, that is a bit more like the pianoforte jumper, in that it's kind of a bit more substantial in terms of it going, in terms of coverage really. On the front, I'm looking for the line drawings. Yeah, you can see on the back it's a complete piece of fabric, but unlike the version of the Love Notions pinafore that I made, this has got a fastening going down the front. You can make the pianoforte jumper with a zip in it, but I chose to make the straight version, and this one's got buttons or poppers going down the front, so I'd have to have a think about what I would like to do with that. Let me just check. It says press on snaps, because obviously it's the Make It Simple book. So that's another alternative, and to go with that, I'm thinking of making a Freya top. And I've actually got two lots of fabric I want to do this in, but I've just pulled one out for now. So again, Tilly and the Buttons, I'm sure you all know what the Freya looks like, but there we go, the Freya with the faux turtleneck. I've made this once before, but I have what have I done? I've downloaded actually the A0 PDF and had it printed. And I've sized up, because I certainly was, I maybe still am, a bit bigger on top than when I made it before. But I think it will go really nicely with the pinafore, and it's a really good layering piece. And the fabric that I want to make it in is this one. So you can see it's got a ton of purple in it, but it's also quite nice and vibrant, and it'll go really well, I think, with the corduroy. And again, at this time of year, I think it will take me right through into spring, and I think those kind of colours, yeah, are kind of absolutely me. So that is another option. I should say that I thought of loads and loads and loads of other things that I could make and might make in the next few months. But I thought, well, you know, as I said, I've only got 2.5 weeks and I want to make sure that I get something done. So I thought I would keep it simple. So let me know what you think of my choices. I'll probably try and start this maybe Tuesday, something like that. It depends what I choose. I think the majority of my fabrics are pre-washed, but I'm not entirely sure. So, yes, so next coming up should be my more detailed reveal of the Riley dungarees, which were my make for the upcycle challenge for Busy Bee. And I said to you in my last vlog, hopefully I'll finish these on the Friday when I've been away, and I'll be able to get a vlog up next weekend, which is now last weekend. And I went away and I stayed with my friend and I had a lovely time and said goodbye to her on Thursday morning and caught up with my uncle who lives up north before I headed back down. And the plan was to go to Sewing for Pleasure, this was the Thursday, and then to come home. And then I got a text from my husband going, I've got norovirus, I don't think you should come home. I'm kind of like, oh, okay. But he needed me to get meds, so I hightailed it back down to the GP's surgery and picked up his meds, and then essentially ended up in a hotel for 2 nights and didn't get to go home, and nor did I get to go to Sewing for Pleasure. So ended up going up to Lincoln for the Scud and Social, met up with the lovely Mandy and all the other lovely sewists. Hello Emma, hello Cheryl. Hello the other Laura, if you watch, and everyone else who was there. And ended up having to knit because, of course, all my sewing stuff was at home. But fortunately, I had thrown into the car to go to my friend's my knitting in case, you know, she was busy at any point. And I didn't do any knitting at all while I was up in Yorkshire, but that's what I did while I was at the social, because at least it was a craft and it was quite nice. And if you're interested, let me know and I will show you what I'm making. You might have seen it before, but it sat on the needles for about 2 years without me doing a whole lot. So it was good to get on with it. So yeah, so hope to be back very shortly with the Rileys. They are very nearly finished. I am literally down to putting on the buttons and doing the buttonholes, and also putting the buckles onto the straps. And in fact, the buckles hopefully should be arriving today, and then I can get it finished. So I will see you very soon with a reveal of the Riley. In the meantime, don't forget to go and check out all the other lovely vloggers. I'll pop an image in here who are also participating in the Busy Bee challenge, and also not forgetting Sam, who I don't think is on the what's the word, the image, the picture of us all, but has also kindly put together this challenge for us all. So do hop over, I'll link all their channels down below and see what they're up to, and I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.